And in that inquiry, I was not invited. I'm just hearing of it on the floor of this house right now. So I would need some guidance on really, if that's how we're going to conduct business in this house.
Thank you, Honorable Senator Omtata. I will look into it and give guidance on the matter in the next Tuesday, next week. Thank you. Questions and statements. Clerk, had you called this order?
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Now, request for statement pursuant to Standing Order 53-1. The Senator for Vihiga County, the Honorable Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to request for a statement on the implementation of the government's compensation and reparation program for victims of demonstration-related violence. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on a matter of national concern regarding the implementation of the government's compensation and reparation program for victims of demonstration-related violence and enforced disappearances. Mr. Speaker, sir, while the recent allocation of Kenya shillings 2 billion has offered hope to affected families, many continue to grapple with the loss, trauma, and uncertainty. Concerns have been raised about transparency, accountability, and whether the program will adequately address the plight of all victims, underscoring the need for clarity and justice in its implementation. In the statement, the committee should address the following: the criteria used by the government and the relevant agencies to identify the victims or beneficiaries, including verification processes, categories of victims, claims received, and timelines for disbursement of compensation. 2, the status of compensation and support, covering families of the deceased, injured persons, and victims of torture or any or other human rights violation, with attention to medical, psychological, legal, and socio-economic needs. 3, efforts to trace missing persons. The processes extended to their families pending conclusion of investigation. 4, accountability measures including investigation, prosecution, disciplinary action against those implicated in unlawful killings, torture, and other human rights violations and enforced disappearances. 5, the steps being taken by the government to prevent future violations during public demonstration, political rallies, including reforms, oversight mechanisms, and other implementation of recommendations from the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights and other relevant bodies. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senator Hamida Kibwana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My statement is regarding the encroachment of public spaces and blockage of roads and drainage systems in estates within Nairobi City County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing on a matter of a county-wide concern regarding the increased cases of unregulated developments, encroachment on public spaces, and obstruction of roads, pedestrian walkways, and drainage systems in estates within Nairobi City County. Mr. Speaker, sir, some developers in Nairobi City County continue construction works that interfere with public infrastructure and compromise resident safety, accessibility, and general welfare. These practices include excavating plots from beacon to beacon, obstructing access roads with construction materials, encroaching on pedestrian walkways, extending cabro works to the edge of public walkways, and blocking drainage systems. Residents, particularly in the California area of Nairobi, have been adversely affected and attribute this problem to weak enforcement, irregular approvals, and possible collusion between developers and county government officers responsible for planning approvals, inspections, and development control. In the statement, the committee should address the following: the status of enforcement of development control regulations in estates within Nairobi City County, particularly the California area, including whether ongoing and recently completed developments comply with approved building plans, zoning requirements, setbacks, road reserves, public safety standards, and whether any approvals have been granted for developments that encroach on public roads, pedestrian walkways, drainage channels, or other public utility spaces. Number 3, the measures to prevent developers from undertaking excavations from beacon to beacon or carrying out construction activities that comprise neighboring properties, public access drainage, pedestrian safety, or other public infrastructure. Number 3, the action taken against developers who encroach on public utility spaces or who obstruct public roads with construction materials during construction, including any enforcement notices, penalties, restoration orders, stop orders, or other sanctions issued. Number 4, whether there is collusion involving county officers in the approval, inspection, and enforcement processes for developments within Nairobi City County, particularly the California area, and the steps taken to investigate such claims and hold capable officers accountable. Finally, the immediate measures being undertaken and the timelines for implementation to restore blocked roads, pedestrian walkways, and drainage systems, including the removal of encroachments and other obstructions affecting public access and safety. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Senator from Marsabit County, the Honorable Mohammed Chute, who has 4 statements. All the 4 statements are hereby dropped. I will allow comments on the statement by the Senator for Vihiga County and Senator Hamida Kibwana for not more than 15 minutes. So if you get an opportunity to speak, kindly do so for not more than 3 minutes. Senator Muthama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I want to welcome all of us again after the session that we had to visit our counties. Mr. Speaker, I want to comment on the statement by Senator Osozi of Vihiga about the compensation of the people who have been killed through demonstrations. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the President for the compensation, but also to say that the compensation of the money is not enough. The committee should go ahead and seek justice for the departed lives. And Mr. Speaker, it would be also very important for the same families to be cancelled. Provide psychosocial counseling for the families so that they can go through the mourning and the separation from their loved ones with medically being cancelled so that they can learn how to live without their loved ones. Mr. Speaker, it is very painful when a child leaves home going on their own businesses and then they lose their lives. And when the parents are at home waiting for them and the siblings, they just get the news that somebody has been shot. Mr. Speaker, this should stop with immediate effect because killing people while demonstrating does not solve any solution. So the committee which will handle this matter should dig deeper with the securities and the police force so that this killing of our children stops immediately, and abductions. Mr. Speaker, many of these people are abducted and many of them never appear. Their parents never get the bodies of their children to bury, and they don't even know where the children are. This is mental torture. And so that is why I'm saying that we should have rehabilitation centers for counseling so that these people can be counseled to learn how to live with this. And people.
Senator Mutinda. Senator Kavindu, are you speaking Kamba? Proceed, Senator Mutinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I also take this opportunity to welcome colleagues back after a long, good recess. Quickly allow me to make brief comments for the statement from the Senator of Vihiga, Senator Sosi. And I want to appreciate Sosi from the perspective of recognizing that the government allocated 2 billion Kenya shillings. This is the first time that the Kenya Kwanza government has prioritized the pride of the families that lost their beloved ones. This is history. This has never happened before. The questions that he has raised are, they're okay, transparency, accountability, but what is key to acknowledge is the fact that 2 billion has been set to assist these families. Quickly, on the statement from my sister, Senator Hamida Kibwana, in regards to the unregulated developments, encroachment on public spaces and blockage in our great city, the city that I represent, the county of Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. It is quite saddening, Mr. Speaker. As defenders of devolution, Mr. Speaker, when irregularities are entertained, when projects are done in a manner that does not adhere to the policies that have been put in place, Mr. Speaker, and we have officers sitting in different offices within the county level and allowing that projects are going to be approved irregularly, Mr. Speaker, it's unprofessional, it's incompetence, and this should come to an end. And I hope that the Committee of Transportation and Housing, led by Senator Eddy, will be able to look into this matter. It does actually not only affect the California area only, it affects many areas, especially now the Kilimani area has been another area whereby every Tom, Dick, and Harry is just willing to throw any structures without following what needs to be done as per the NCA requirements. Mr. Speaker, those for many, I support.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to comment on the statement by Senator Ososi. Mr. Speaker, Makueni as a county was affected, and while this exercise was going on of compensation, some of the well-known cases in Makueni, like one of a young man called Brian, who was got shot at the town when the mother of a Mali, when the mother had sent him to buy milk and bread, and he was carrying that, and a known police officer who is an AP in the region, Mr. Speaker, shot him and died, and then he ran and hid himself in one of the local banks there, Mr. Speaker. And the bank had to be brought down by people for this officer to be removed, arrested, and handed over to the OCS in Mali. That officer is known. No prosecution has been done to him. And when it came to this compensation, the mother rang me and said she was being given a lot of problems, Mr. Speaker, related to this. This was the only child. She's the only relative around. But there were issues as to other relatives, succession, and the last we talked with her, she was very stuck, and then compensation was unable to be processed for her. Similarly, in Kinyambu, Kibwezi, Makueni County, there's a young man called Stephen Kavingo who disappeared with the Mulolongo 4. 2 were found dead, 2 have never been found. Stephen Kavingo and Mr. Karani from Yata. And the one, Zuko, was buried in a place called Kilungu, and I'm the one who went there to make sure that from the DNA identification and all those things were done. But again, this person left young family. Compensation has not come forth. So, Mr. Speaker, this will be very good, and it's coming to the Committee of Justice, where I sit, that we can get clarity as to whether this is just an exercise in talk or whether there is real compensation going on with any family in Kenya. Because I saw complaints from Machakos as they commemorated some of the young people's disappearances and killings. We really want, as a committee, to look at it and make sure that, Mr. Speaker, everything comes to light, and summon, as a committee of parliament, as a committee of justice, all those people involved so that they can come and tell us what is happening, bring the data, bring the figures, bring the names, so that the whole country can know. This is public money, Mr. Speaker, and I believe it be public money. Everyone should be able to scrutinize and know. But most families are saying they've been threatened, they are unable to talk, they cannot comment on this. Mr. Speaker, this is against the Constitution, and we want clarity, proper use of public money, so that the 2 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker, does not end up ever being spent. So I thank Honorable Ososi for this particular request. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Senator Boni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to commend the Senator of Vihiga in respect of his statement on the extrajudicial killings. He has raised a very valid point, Mr. Speaker, of the selection criteria of who benefited. This draws the attention of the people of Kakamega immediately because, Mr. Speaker, during the recent demonstrations in Kakamega, specifically Kolomani constituency, over mining rights, tens of people were injured, property was destroyed, primary schools were run down, Mr. Speaker, and young people lost their lives. We would like the committee, Mr. Speaker, to tell us why the following children, young artisanal miners who were shot dead, have not been included on the list. 1, Mr. Speaker, Conrad Ashioya Isese. 2, Sakaria Shtendeza. 3, Wilberforce Ichechi. And 5, Duncan Ochieng. Why were they not on the list of beneficiaries? Number 2, why were leaders who were arrested and harassed for defending these children, why were they not put on the list of compensation? Specifically, nominated member of the County Assembly of Kakamega, Mama Anne Marijo, a woman in her 60s, Mr. Speaker. She was beaten in her house before her own children, before her own husband, and taken to Kakamega after being rotated around in the night, Mr. Speaker. Why was she not compensated? Mr. Speaker, why were the parents of the young girls who were raped during this spate of violence by the police not compensated? And finally, Mr. Speaker, the committee should tell us what action is being taken against the people who gave orders to the police to attack those victims of extrajudicial killings. And when I say people, I mean the people with authority, including the Inspector General and the Minister in charge of security in this country. Why should people be being given money when the fellows...
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on unregulated development, encroachment on public spaces, and blockage on roads and drainage systems in estates within Nairobi City County. Mr. Speaker, Nairobi is not operating without written laws, without guidelines. It is purely a system of indiscipline. It is not the poor people who are encroaching into other people's lands. It is we, the politicians, and the rich people who do not believe in following the rule of law. The only time, Mr. Speaker, that we are going to have order in the city is when the law is applied uniformly across everyone that live in an estate. Mr. Speaker, the biggest challenge we have in Nairobi, and this is slowly cropping into other counties. First of all, our urban areas are all neglected. When you look at the development that are mushrooming, so long as you know the big people, you can build wherever you want to build. You can build in a public space. No one gives a hoot in hell. You can do that, Mr. Speaker. When you go to court, our courts takes forever to be able to determine whether you are building in a place where that we can be candid, is to be able to accept the fact that the zoning laws that exist even in this Nairobi County are outdated. The courts have found that, Mr. Speaker. So I would like to request that when the Committee on Transport, Housing is going to be looking at this matter, it is important that they work with the Delegated Legislation Committee, they come up with proper guidelines that will also encourage even citizens of those estates to be able to ask questions as to why are you building? Can you show us all the approvals for building here? Public participation is not carried out in estates, Mr. Speaker. So long as an approval has been given from the city county, and in most cases, it is actually given through the back door because they don't follow the due process, you know, you are above the law. So this statement by Senator Hamida Kibwana is a statement that should worry all of us here. We normally contribute a lot in sentimental statements, but when it comes to orderly, it is quite that all of us pay attention to this statement because El Nino is knocking, and very soon, if we don't fix the drainage systems, you will be flushed out of your beautiful manicured mansion because you did not speak when your neighbor was